Today, justices of the Supreme Court heard arguments about whether parents of public school children have a constitutional right to opt their kids out from exposure to books that include LGBTQ themes. The case pits parents claiming religious freedom against school boards who say diversity is a cornerstone of education. Our Devin Dwyer takes a closer look now at what's at stake.
Do you understand this concept?
Yeah.
Wael El-Kosheri is homeschooling his fourth grade daughter.
Treehouse, 2 words.
After he says the public schools in Montgomery County, Maryland, infringed on their Muslim faith.
We unapologetically believe in God, and we have certain tenets in our religion that contradict some of the teachings that we're being taught at MCPS.
The teachings he objects to involve classroom readings of books like these, featuring stories with gay, lesbian, and transgender themes.
They were love stories. So it was not just exposure to LGBTQ characters. We're talking specifically about family life and sexuality issues where some kids aren't really prepared to learn about these things.
Billy Mogus, a mother of 3 and devout Christian, pulled her kids from the same schools over the same books.
So the books talk about romances, homosexuality, transitioning, things that are not what we believe in, that a child should be exposed to. When I was in school, I was opted out of sex ed.
Montgomery County, one of the most diverse counties in the country, at first allowed parents to opt out from lessons using the books. But then the school board changed course, saying exposure to diverse people and ideas is part of education.
We are one voice! We are one voice!
Hundreds of parents turned out to protest, but an accommodation was denied.
We're under no illusion. They'll learn about all of these things, but in the formative years, what ultimately we could not agree with MCPS is where inclusion stopped and indoctrination started.
The public school, everybody gets to show up in public school, and we don't get to sort of pick and choose who is allowed to be present and who is allowed to be visible in that way.
For parents like Emily and Sharon McGowan, who have a 2nd and 6th grader in Montgomery County schools, using books that include families like theirs is about respect.
These books are representing the community that is surrounding these children. You cannot deny that we exist. We live here. Our kids go to school here. It's a really cute little book.
They say opt-outs over LGBTQ stories harm the children whose family lives are represented in those books.
The idea that 10 of their classmates get up and walk out because there's 2 mommies in this book. What is the message that's sent to our kid who has 2 mommies, that something is so offensive about this that they get to walk out and maybe they even get to go to the playground and have extra playtime?
Why is Uncle Bobby getting married? Bobby and Jamie love each other.
From Uncle Bobby's Wedding to Prince and Knight, the books feature a diverse mix of characters and storylines, some illustrating the power of love.
The knight took off his helmet to reveal his handsome face, and as they gazed into each other's eyes, their hearts began to race. There's nothing in my book, in Prince and Knight, that is any different than most fairy tales that have some sort of romance at the center of it. Nothing different than Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella or any of those.
In the book Intersection Allies, a group of 3 sociologist authors set out to simplify complex ideas about identity, including what it means to be non-binary.
Skirts and frills are cute, I suppose, but my superhero cape is more cape than those bows. Some may be confused that a kid like me can wear what I want and be proud and carefree. This book is not saying that your child has to choose to be transgender. It's saying respect someone who is trans.
It isn't asking anyone to change their beliefs. Schools and parents and communities are partners with each other in helping kids make sense of the world. And we don't have to opt our kids out to do that.
But dozens of parents practicing different religious faiths sued the county, demanding a right to opt out from the books. Federal courts so far have rejected their claims, but now the U.S. Supreme Court is taking a closer look at whether the First Amendment guarantees parents the ability to prevent their kids from learning about gay, lesbian, or transgender people or issues.
Every day in public elementary school classrooms across the country, children are taught ideas that conflict with their family's religious beliefs. But learning about them is not a legally cognizable burden on free exercise.
The county also argues managing opt-outs on a large scale is time-consuming for teachers and disruptive to classrooms. The plaintiffs disagree.
The school board has decided to disrupt the thinking of their children on an area that has long been understood as going to the core of parental authority for their children, on sex and gender. And in that area, the First Amendment absolutely protects the parents.
A National Association of School Board Attorneys, which is neutral in the case, says opt-outs can be done, but a constitutional guarantee under the First Amendment would have a sweeping impact nationwide.
If the Supreme Court rules in favor of the plaintiffs on this case, it's not going to stop with just sex and gender issues. It will cover a wide variety of things that parents may have objections to.
Nearly every state gives parents the ability to opt out their children from sex education classes, but opt-outs for LGBTQ issues vary widely by community and are often decided by board members elected by local parents.
We all want the school to reflect our values, but we don't agree on our values. And certainly issues about same-sex marriage, the rights of lesbians and gays, are right at the center of that.
The case comes as the Trump administration has vowed to give more control over education to local leaders and communities.
We're going to be returning education very simply back to the states where it belongs.
But even in places where school boards are choosing to prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion in their curriculum, like Montgomery County, some conservatives are still pushing to override policies.
The democratic process is important, and that's where we debate curriculum. But here we're talking about restoring an opt-out right, which is not a challenge to the curriculum.
And the fact that the court took the case at all, I don't have reason to believe that they took the case to affirm the importance of inclusion in the public schools. If harm is done by that decision, we will figure out what we need to do at a personal and a community level to mitigate that harm.
Is that a half a circle or a full circle?
Wael Elkosheri insists he harbors no ill will toward LGBTQ families, and he says he isn't calling for a ban on any books, but he hopes the High Court, as a matter of faith, will give parents greater control.
Very good. When people have differences of opinion on certain things, accommodations work well to relieve, everybody, and we move on. But we've put this county in a situation now where this decision will affect the entire United States of America.